everyone. Welcome to Storytime with Mili and Thomas. My name is Mili. This is Thomas. He's my reading buddy. We've picked out a very special book for you today. It's The Legend of the Bluebonnet. It's an old tale from Texas, and in this book, it's retold by Tomie DePaola. He's one of my favorite authors. I know I have a lot of favorite authors, a lot of favorite books. This one is very special though because I was born and raised in Texas. So I remember listening to this story when I was little a lot. And then in spring, I could see how the bluebonnets would bloom and it would cover the fields in these little blue flowers, and it made me wonder. So this story is about this little girl here that you see on the cover, and she's very brave, very courageous, very loving, very generous, what she gives just to help others. So I really love this story, and Thomas really likes this story too. I hope you love it. I hope you enjoy it. Grab a comfy seat, get ready to listen. Thomas and I are very happy that you're here. So we're going to be taking a look at some of the words that are going to appear in the story so that hopefully you'll understand it a little better. Drought. Drought is a period or a time where there has been very little rain or no rain at all. Drought. Healing. Healing refers to something that makes you feel better, something that makes you healthy. Famine. Famine is hunger, a time of great hunger where there is no food or very little food. Buckskin. Buckskin usually refers to the skin of a male deer, the skin of an animal that is used to make things like clothes or teepees or dolls. Shaman. Shaman is a holy man. A holy man. Plentiful. Plentiful means that there is a lot of something. When something is plentiful, it means that there is a lot of it. Cease. Cease means to stop. Valued. Valued. When something is valued, it means that it is very important and very special. And thrust, thrust, to thrust. This is a verb, and what it means is to throw or to push something, to push or to throw something with great force. The Legend of the Bluebonnet, an old tale of Texas, retold and illustrated by Tomie DePaola. Great spirits, the land is dying. Your people are dying too, the long line of dancers sang. Tell us what we have done to anger you. End this drought. Save your people. Tell us what we must do so you will send the rain that will bring back life. For 3 days, the dancers danced to the sound of the drums. And for 3 days, the people called Comanche watched and waited. And even though the hard winter was over, no healing rains came. Drought and famine are hardest on the very young and the very old. Among the few children left was a small girl named She Who Is Alone. She sat by herself watching the dancers. In her lap was a doll made from buckskin, a warrior doll. The eyes, nose, and mouth were painted on with the juice of berries. It wore beaded leggings and a belt of polished bone. On its head were brilliant blue feathers from the bird who cries, "Jay, Jay, Jay." She loved her doll very much. Soon, She Who Is Alone said to her doll, "The shaman will go off alone to the top of the hill to listen for the words of the great spirits. Then we will know what to do so that once more the rains will come and the earth will be green and alive. The buffalo will be plentiful, and the people will be rich again. As she talked, she thought of the mother who made the doll, of the father who brought the blue feathers. She thought of the grandfather and the grandmother she had never known. They were all like shadows. It seemed long ago that they had died from the famine. The people had named her and cared for her. The warrior doll was the only thing she had left from those distant days. "The sun is setting," the runner called as he ran through the camp. "The shaman is returning." The people gathered in a circle, and the shaman spoke. "I have heard the words of the great spirits," he said. "The people have become selfish. For years they have taken from the earth without giving anything back. The great spirits say the people must sacrifice. We must make a burnt offering of the most valued possession among us. The ashes of this offering shall then be scattered to the 4 points of the earth, the home of the winds. When this sacrifice is made, drought and famine will cease. Life will be restored to the earth and to the people." The people sang a song of thanks to the great spirits for telling them what they must do. "I'm sure it's not my new bow that the great spirits want," a warrior said. "Or my special blanket," a woman added, as everyone went to their teepees to talk and think over what the great spirits had asked. Everyone, that is, except she who is alone. She held her doll tightly to her heart. "You," she said, looking at the doll, "you are my most valued possession. It is you the great spirits want." And she knew what she must do. As the council fires died out and the teepee flaps began to close, the small girl returned to the teepee where she slept to wait. The night outside was still, except for the distant sound of the night bird with the red wings. Soon everyone in the teepee was asleep, except she who is alone. Under the ashes of the teepee fire, one stick still glowed. She took it and quietly crept out into the night. She ran to the place on the hill where the great spirits had spoken to the shaman. Stars filled the sky, but there was no moon. "O great spirits," she who is alone said, "here is my warrior doll. It is the only thing I have from my family who died in this famine. It is my most valued possession. Please accept it." Then, gathering twigs, she started a fire with the glowing fire stick. The small girl watched as the twigs began to catch and burn. She thought of her grandmother and grandfather, her mother and father, and all the people, their suffering, their hunger. And before she could change her mind, she thrust the doll into the fire. She watched until the flames died down and the ashes had grown cold. Then, scooping up a handful, she who is alone scattered the ashes to the home of the winds, the north and the east, the south and the west. And there she fell asleep until the first light of the morning sun woke her. She looked out over the hill, and stretching out from all sides where the ashes had fallen, the ground was covered with flowers, beautiful flowers, as blue as the feathers in the hair of the doll, as blue as the feathers of the bird who cries, "Jay, Jay, Jay." When the people came out of their teepees, they could scarcely believe their eyes. They gathered on the hill with she who is alone to look at the miraculous sight. There was no doubt about it. The flowers were a sign of forgiveness from the great spirits. And as the people sang and danced their thanks to the great spirits, a warm rain began to fall, and the land began to live again. From that day on, the little girl was known by another name, one who dearly loved her people. And every spring, the great spirits remember the sacrifice of the little girl and fill the hills and valleys of the land, now called Texas, with the beautiful blue flowers, even to this very day. Thank you so much for stopping by and spending this time with me. I hope you enjoyed the story. I will see you again next week with a new book, and have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye.